This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to My Business Stars, a podcast series featuring conversations with disabled business owners telling their business stories. Hosted by the Disability Business Network. Kia ora, I'm that blind woman, Julie Woods, from the Disability Business Network, hosts of the My Business Stars podcast series. And today we have with us Thomas Coysh, who is the Blind SKiwi. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you. Good to be here. Good to see you.
Lovely to have you. You started your life in Auckland, you say, and now you are nomadic.
Yeah, quite. I have been living out of Ashburton mostly for the last couple of years, but bouncing around Wanaka and North America, trying to follow the snow.
Where does your love of snow come from?
I have always loved movement. So growing up, when I could see, I always loved doing sports that involved momentum. So, I did some motocross. I did a tiny bit of skiing when I could see. I love sailing. I just love, that feeling of movement. And so when I discovered adaptive skiing, it just transferred, and I can't get enough of it.
So obviously the vision loss came before the adaptive skiing.
Yes, quite.
Yeah. Get the order right.
I lost most of my vision sort of 2018-ish, and it wasn't until 2021 that I discovered adaptive skiing.
And where did you do that?
I had my first go at it at Snow Planet up in Auckland, but my proper go back on the mountain was down at the Adaptive Snow Sports Festival down in Remarkables, down in Queenstown.
And when was that?
So that was August of 2021. It's, I believe, always the first weekend of August.
And you don't mind the cold that comes with the snow?
I have quite a high body temperature. I'm quite often in shorts and a t-shirt. It was -40 in Canada, and I was just walking between my room and the main accommodation block just in shorts and a t-shirt because I couldn't be bothered putting on my jumper.
You sound like a very young person. So tell us about the Blind SKiwi.
Yeah, so with my sort of ski journey, every time I sort of talk to somebody about it, they were like, "Oh man, that's really cool. I'd love to see what you do." And I thought, well, all right, I'll just chuck on a camera and start recording it. And figured that I may as well try to see if I can get some traction with it. Other people may like it. It might bring some more eyes to the sport, all that sort of thing. And it's kind of spiraled from there. I just really want to grow the adaptive sports movement, and
So social media has a big part to play in your business?
Yes, there are kind of 4 different facets of my business. So one is, social media, just recording what I'm doing with skiing, whether it's free skiing or, the racing. The second facet is the racing itself. So, being an athlete, trying to get to the Paralympics and, just prove things to myself. And then the other 2 facets are professional speaking, just, around, their sort of trials and tribulations I've been through and how people can, use those themselves, and like accessibility consultancy. So how things can be made more accessible. So it's a better world for all.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of your speaking, where does your story start?
So it starts with me being an avid sportsman growing up. I always loved football. As mentioned, I did some motocross and whatnot. I just always loved getting out there. And when my vision loss sort of hit me in high school, the hardest thing I found was, oh no, I can't, participate in like these mainstream sports anymore. And that was just really, really hard for me to take. So that took a while to, get my head around. It wasn't, immediately that I found out about adaptive sports. It was quite a while that I just went for runs outside and hoped I didn't run into anything. But yeah, I eventually found adaptive sports, eventually found adaptive skiing. And since then, I've just devoted myself to it, trying to, yeah, get into high performance and, yeah, push myself to see what's possible.
What is it that people like about watching what you do you think?
I think a big part of it is that people can't imagine themselves doing it blind. So, you know, they'll see a run and go, "Oh, that looks a bit tough," and maybe they won't do it. And then they'll maybe see me going down, like, "How the hell does he do that?" It's a bit of a spectacle. I wear a mask over my face so that I'm fully blinded, and so that people can like visually see, hey, even though my jacket says I'm vision impaired, it's a lot more than that. I cannot see at all. Um, so yeah, I think a big part of it is just that people can't imagine themselves doing it, which I would disagree with. I think anyone's capable of almost anything as long as they apply themselves.
And is that your key message?
More or less, yeah. I want people to achieve what they may deem as impossible. Um, you never know until you try, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not until you find yourself in these circumstances that you get really tested.
Exactly. Like I never, growing up, never thought I would be blind. But now that I am, you got to play the card you're dealt.
I was just reminded of the quotation from Horace that says, "Adversity has the effect of eliciting talents which in prosperous circumstances would have lain dormant."
No, exactly.
Yeah. So it's about being tested and getting out of your comfort zone as well, isn't it? And doing things in different ways.
And that's honestly half the fun. I love pushing the boundaries, seeing what, I can do, seeing what others can do. It's, yeah, really cool to just, I don't know, test the human spirit.
Yeah. What's the best thing about having a business?
The best thing about my business is that it enables me to continue doing what I already do. So, you know, I was doing this stuff anyway, but figured, hey, well, I may as well record it. And yeah, the hope is that it'll mean that I can continue to do so. Have that sort of independence to pursue my passions and my competitive ambitions.
Mm. And in terms of those competitive ambitions, what are they?
So I really want to get to the Winter Paralympics for ski racing. Um, yeah, most likely 2030, but hell, we'll give 2026 a try. Yeah, just a really tight window, so we'll see how we go.
And where is it in 2026?
In 2026, it's in Milano, Italy.
Oh, how awful. You'll just suffer it, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah, exactly. I'll have a consolatory pasta.
What advantage do you think your vision loss gives you in your business, do you think?
I guess there are different ways it can impact. Well, firstly, it's hard to be a blind skier without being blind, so that's one way in which it helps. Outside of that, it does help sort of give me a point of difference. There are a lot of ski races, but how many of them are totally blind? I believe there's only two on the World Cup circuit at the moment. So if I can get to that level, I'll be in quite a small club. when it comes to professional speaking, again, it's a point of difference to others, being in a adventure sport, extreme sport, you don't get too many blind people, which is a shame. There should be more. If I can twist your arm, Julie. Um,
I think why
and then
not, isn't it?
with the accessibility consultancy, it's yeah, exactly. I think somebody said that. Um, and then with the consultancy, it's really good to have lived experience to just give that informed opinion.
Yeah, so it's that unique selling point and it's your story that you have.
Exactly. Like with my business, it is just what I do. Like it's my life, my business, my life, and my life is my business. Which can either be taken very wholesomely or very corporate greed. I hope it's taken the former, but
Yeah. And so what is the dream for your business? Who do you want to be?
so my eventual goal is that I really want to expand, bring more eyes to disability sport. I want to make sure that there are a lot of connections and supports out there for people like myself. As mentioned, I went a few years without even knowing about adaptive sports. And yeah, I want to make sure that nobody else has that experience. I want it to be that everyone can have equal access to sport, no matter their age, their ability, nothing. And so, yeah, but my end goal is, I'd like to offer supports to other disability organizations and whatnot.
Mm. Well, that's a noble intention, isn't it? And getting people off the couch and getting them out of their own head. I'm just recalling when I got asked to go cross-country skiing and I said no. It's how do you encourage people to say why not and to give it a go, because often we stop ourselves.
Exactly. And that's also sort of where the professional speaking also sort of ties in is, it's not just like obviously for me the disability is a big part, but I also want to encourage able-bodied people with the speaking and, if they can take my learnings and apply them themselves, I want everybody to reach their full potential. Doesn't matter whether, you've got two legs or one.
Mm. And when an audience has heard you speak, what do you want them to leave? And once they've left the auditorium and gone home, what do you want them to remember about what you've said?
I guess it would be something along the lines of like, what can I do to like better myself? What would make me the happiest, the most fulfilled? For me, it's sports, but for other people, it could be music or some other outlet. It's finding what's right for you.
Yeah, that's good. Um, what do you think your life would be like without social media?
Um, in ways better. Like I really do like getting out into, nature and whatnot. So I try not to be on it as much as I can, but living with vision impairment can be quite isolating where I can't just hop in a car and go and drive to a friend. So whilst I do dislike a lot of social media, it is really good that it can connect in such ways and, bring communities together.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that there's the vision loss and the social media that have changed your life. I would suspect.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like seeing other sort of role models out there, the the Molly Burks, the blind surfers, that type thing. It does embolden you, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to have with other people.
That's such a great word. Embolden. You could have emboldened and blazoned on your Blind SKiwi merch.
Put it in Braille.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be. Oh, I'm seeing it now in Braille. Tell us, Thomas. Often when we're in business, there are lots of people you'd like to thank for helping you along the way. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to extend a massive thank you to, if I can do a 2-for-1, to
Of course.
Adaptive Snow Sports Canterbury and to Snow Sports New Zealand. They both just make it so easy to get into snow sports. They reduce the financial barriers. They're really supportive at the recreational level up to the competitive level. It's great. So yeah, if you're ever looking to get into skiing, whether it's in Canterbury or the rest of the country, those two organisations are the go-tos.
Great. That's you've obviously, because you're currently in Ashburton, so they're the go-to agencies that support you.
Yeah, exactly.
And is there anyone in business that inspires you, that you look around and you think, wow, one day I'd like to be like them?
In a fun way, yeah, partially yourself. I really want to get into the motivational sort of speaking realm and have those positive impacts that you've been doing. So
Thank you, Thomas. I wasn't looking for a compliment. That's lovely. I think for me, it's about that impact that you can have on the lives of others that motivates me to get out of bed in the morning and keep doing what I do.
exactly.
Who's your favourite audience to speak to?
Ooh, I'd say a captive audience. I once gave a speech in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean on a wooden tall ship. So there was probably no one around for, hundreds of nautical miles. And no, but it was just really great to have an audience that, they're clearly into the outdoors. They like being active, just having an audience that's willing to listen.
And what do you think captivates an audience?
A good story.
Mm. Yeah, a good story. And tell us a little bit more about accessibility. Why is it important?
Accessibility is important because everybody should have equal access. It can be anything. So, for me, a big one is access to the mountain. Everyone should have the ability to go, strap on a pair of planks and send themselves down a mountain. But it's as simple as, websites. So many websites are built without accessibility in mind, and it makes it so much more difficult for, somebody with a vision impairment to navigate it. Or, in the built environment, if something isn't built accessible, could be, as simple as steps preventing somebody in a wheelchair or somebody in crutches from reaching a destination. So everybody should, have equal access to anything.
And how much further do you think we've got to go?
Quite a ways. But, we'll get there.
If you could wave your magic wand, what would it do? What would you wish for?
Ooh,
Accessible websites? Talking cans?
Yeah, I'm thinking more along the lines of like something physical. Like one thing I really dislike are like level crossings. They're not too bad in New Zealand. But there have been times overseas where, I've just been walking around, and with my cane, I felt, oh, right now I'm between train tracks. I had no idea. This isn't very safe. So yeah, mostly safety measures for me.
When you're out and about.
Yeah, exactly. There have been too many times where, yeah, I've
Too many
gotten
close
too
calls.
close to a
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we want that for all New Zealanders, don't we?
yeah. No, exactly.
Right. Well, Thomas, we've reached the end time of our time together today. How do people get hold of you?
So yeah, I'm on social media. So on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I'm the Blind SKiwi, which is Kiwi with an S in front of it. And yeah, so you can reach out through those methods.
Well, that's wonderful. And please do reach out to Thomas. Do you have an email, Thomas, or is that too old-fashioned for you?
Not as of yet. In the books. Yeah, feel free to flick me a DM. Feel free to follow along and watch my journey.
Well, I'm sure we will. I'll be watching it with great anticipation, and it's been wonderful to follow your journey so far. We wish you luck for the Winter Olympics in 2026, and we will follow your progress closely. So thank you for coming on today and being on My Business Stars.
No, thank you for having me.
Great. You've been listening to My Business Stars with that blind woman, Julie Woods, from the Disability Business Network. We'd like to thank our sponsors, CCS Disability Action. The Disability Business Network is the only business network in Aotearoa, New Zealand, dedicated to business owners who live with an impairment. If you are disabled, own your own business, and would love to mix with people who look like you, then join us today at the Disability Business Network. You can find us at disabilitybusinessnetwork.org, or you can contact that blind woman, Julie Woods, on 021 913 513, or email julie@thatblindwoman.co.nz. At the Disability Business Network, we believe in disabled people being successful in their own businesses and becoming business stars.
This podcast was produced by OAR FM Dunedin with support from New Zealand On the Air.